Hello and welcome to a special meeting of Truro Town Council for Thursday, December the 11th, 2025. Before we begin our agenda, I, Kathy J. Henton, Mayor for the Town of Truro, acknowledge we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties and recognize we are all treaty people. We recognize African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched the part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. We recognize the Acadians who lived in harmony with the Mi'kmaq, whose communities across the province are a living testament to the fortitude of their ancestors who survived the ground derangement. Today, as both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, we commit to seek harmonious and mutually beneficial relations. We give thanks to the elders and knowledge keepers. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're now going to proceed to our special public meeting for the Town of Truro for Thursday, December 11th, 2025. The purpose of this meeting is to update Council and the community on the Rath Eastland Community Centre. There will be no comments made or questions on the presentation from those in the chamber today under our bylaws. Those in attendance are here for observation purposes only. Council are the only persons permitted to comment and ask questions. We thank everyone for respecting our process. Councillor Graham will be joining us by Zoom, and Deputy Mayor Thomas is unavailable today, but sends his regrets. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, Mr. Dolter?
Yes, Madam Mayor. It didn't indicate that we have a request for decision as part of the presentation, but that is part of the presentation in the agenda today.
That's the only addition?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so seeing one addition with the amended addition, I will say that that agenda is approved. So the agenda for today for our special meeting is approved.
No vote on it?
No, we don't need to vote anymore. I can approve it as mayor alone.
Yeah, what if there's an amendment to the agenda, it has to be voted on?
Okay, do you want to, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the amendment being added today to the agenda?
We need a first and second.
Just a second. I need a mover first. Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Pryor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, agenda amendment is approved. We're now moving on to our presentation. Mr. Dolter.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'm going to run through an overview of what's been happening recently with the REC and the Civic Center Society. So we're going to do a chronological review of the governance and the action items that have been addressed. So this is an overview of the society timeline and some of the governance issues that have been ongoing. So just as a way of an introduction, sorry. As far as the presentation goes, the purpose of the presentation today is to provide a high-level overview of the key events and governance decisions affecting the REC and its management of the Nova Scotia Provincial Exhibition Grounds. And that's an issue, obviously, that both councils and the REC boards have been dealing with over the last probably 8 to 10 months. The chronology of the events. The presentation will summarize key events from December 2021 to November 2025, shaping operational and governance challenges with the facility and the NSPA grounds. Governance action items. Recommendations are presented to focus on addressing the structural issues and ensuring compliance with the municipal governance expectations. And finally, the goal is to inform council members, clarify issues, and provide a roadmap for transparent and accountable management moving forward as far as the facility goes. So as way of background, as most people are aware, the facility in the Rath Eastland Centre is jointly owned by the municipality of the County of Colchester and the Town of Truro. The REC's operated by the Central Nova Scotia Civic Center Society under various agreements that have been in place since 2013 when the facility first opened. Amendments to the operating agreements did take place in 2018 and then again most recently in 2023, and those amendments expanded the Society's mandate, and it allowed them to conduct professional service contracts. Prior to that point, that was not allowed for within the operating agreements, and all activities had to occur on the site of the REC itself and could not be operated off-site. So recent concerns over financial reporting and compliance to the terms of the amendment to the amended operating agreement that was amended in 2023 have arisen, and the public is aware of some of the changes that were made as a result of trying to deal with those issues. The lack of resolution led to the dismissal of the original board in May 2025 and the appointment of an interim board in May as well. The municipality of the County of Colchester issued notice to terminate the operating agreement effective January 31st, 2026. So again, that's the action that the county took in the October timeframe. As a result of that action, the majority of the interim board has since resigned. So I'm going to go through, Madam Mayor, now a chronological overview of some of the key events that have gone on since 2021. In 2021, the Farm Loan Board actually issued an RFP to look at someone to operate the NSBE site. So in early 2022, the CEO submitted a proposal to the Farm Loan Board for the operation of the NSBE site in response to that call for expressions of interest. That submission was done without the full approval of the board, and as a result, it caused some municipal objections, as this would violate the existing operating agreement at the time, and I'm referring at this point to the 2018 operating agreement. So in April of 2022, the Farm Loan Board awarded the contract to the REC, despite subsequent issues raised by the municipality of the County of Colchester directly with the Farm Loan Board. And the Farm Loan Board was actually issued a letter where the county expressed their concerns over the award to the REC for the NSP grounds. So in the summer, the concerns were expressed to the board. So a technical review committee a technical review committee was established in the spring and summer of 2022. So there's a technical assessment was directed by the board, and it was conducted and revealed that unacceptable risks were present in the proposed management agreement. And with the delivery of the report or the technical assessment, the CEO acknowledged those risks that had been identified and did agree that he had not done a full assessment on the implications of the agreement. So from there, we had a proposed events contract. So in April of 2023, the CEO proposed entering into a promotion events contract for a monthly management fee. The CEO emphasized that the services would not expose the REC to financial risk or liability, as was the concern with the previous agreement with the Farm Loan Board. And again, that was the agreement that was awarded in April of 2022 for clarity. So as a result of this proposal that came forward from the CEO, in May of 23, based on the proposal, the municipalities and the board agreed to amend the relevant documents to allow for third-party contracts and off-site events. There was no provisions to lease or operate the NSPE, and the CEO acknowledged the limitations of the amendments. So, Madam Mayor, there were 4 provisions within with the amendment to the amended operating agreement, which I know sounds complicated, but that's the 2020. So this is within the 2023 amendments, and those specifically stated that any agreements signed with respect to the operation or activities within the NSPE, any contracts signed, had to come back to the board for approval, and specifically had to be unanimously approved by the 4 municipal board members on the REC board or on the society board. There are minutes to that effect that the REC board acknowledged those provisions and those requirements. So in December of 2023, the REC's 3-year strategic plan was presented, and in that plan it acknowledged the limited parameters of the contracts of the events and programming that the rec was undertaking on the NSPE grounds. And it also identified the province's responsibility for the site as per the amended rec agreement. So during 2024, unauthorized leases and contracts were signed without the approval, violating the governing documents and the policies. So throughout 2024, there was a number of leases and contracts that, under the terms of the 2023 amendment, should have come back to the board for approval. And although there were minutes reflecting that there was some of these contracts were mentioned within the minutes, the contracts themselves at no point came back to the board itself as per the requirements of the agreement in order for the board to actually agree to them, and again for the municipal representatives on the board to unanimously approve these agreements. None of the contracts came to the board for approval or review. The approved events contracts, and I'm referring to the original agreement for organizing events that were signed in 2023. The approved events contract was abandoned without the approval of the board as well. So, although the board and the municipalities had agreed to the events contract, that contract was abandoned without board approval. So the board minutes between 2024 and 2025, board minutes reveal a lack of proper approval for contracts, financial and governance concern, and as a result of that, financial governance concerns escalated. So again, the minutes did reflect that during reports, there was allusions to the various agreements that had been signed, but again, no details of those agreements were presented to the board, nor were the contracts themselves presented. So there was letters of default were issued by the municipalities over late audited statements, operational deficits, and the operating budgets themselves. Concerns were raised over the lack of effective separation of the financials for the rec itself and the NSPE, as a result of provincial funding that had been granted to the rec for operations on the NSPE grounds and promotion. That revenue was flowing through both financial statements, and there was a great deal of confusion on what the money was being used to offset. So in March 4th, 2025, the municipalities requested a report from the society outlining the contractual relationship with the NSPE and other third parties, including copies of all the contracts. Some of the contracts were provided, but others took some time and required additional requests in order for them to be provided. In March of 2025, because of the lack of statement clarity, a scheduled joint council meeting between the rec board and the municipalities was canceled. Subsequent attempts to reschedule this meeting were unsuccessful prior to the town's budget being approved. But Madam Mayor, one point to be clear is that council did receive a letter that was dated in March 3rd of 2025 that allowed council to incorporate the identified requirements from the CEO into the town's budget, and therefore we approved the portions in that request for both capital and the increase the operating grant that the town issued or allocated an additional $150,000 towards the existing portion the town was providing.
Could you speak up, please? Speak into your speaker. I can't hear you back here.
Well, I'm sitting as close as I can. I apologize. So from that, so we're moving into the May timeframe. So written confirmation was received from the board chair in May regarding the society's breach of the amended agreements. The proposed remedies that were deemed as not to be acceptable by the municipalities, and as a result, both municipalities voted to replace the existing board with a new interim board, as they didn't see a resolution to the outstanding issues, and those were the contracts that had not been approved by the municipalities, and as a result, exposed it to undue risk. So in October of 2025, the municipality of the County of Colchester terminated the operating agreement. The key issue here in for the County of Colchester was the persistent issues between the owners, which are the municipalities, and the society over the mandate and the governance of the facility, and obviously the NSPE. In November 2025, the municipalities provided 60-day notice to cancel the NSPE contract. So that has been that is in effect now. And Madam Mayor, with respect to so the NSPE contract, so that is directly referenced to the agreement with the Farm Loan Board. And we do have meetings scheduled for Monday to sit down with the Farm Loan Board to go through those issues. So just to, in a way of summarize this, the governance of financial concerns. So the crux of these issues centers around the unauthorized contracts and agreements that were signed on behalf of the society by the CEO. The board and municipalities not being properly informed or consulted about the contracts or them being presented at the board level or to the municipalities. Financial reporting issues, including the budget overruns and lack of a distinction between the REC itself and the NSPE finances. The municipalities' repeated requests for clarity and compliance with respect to the operating agreement. And the interim board appointment in May to address the governance issues. So issues between the community representatives and the municipalities over the society's purpose. So there was continual discussion on the purpose of the members of the board and what the overall objectives were. And again, that resulted in some issues as a result of the board operation and governance. Society's expansion in the NSP management was not endorsed by the municipalities as per the operating agreement. The voting structure risks a deadlock between the municipal and the community interests under the current structure. So through a jurisdictional scan, we've looked at a variety of models that exist for facility governance. From that, we've determined that municipalities, we have models that were the municipalities owned and operated by a society, and which is the current REC model. Municipalities owned and operated by a third-party contractor, and the one that comes to mind, which operated in New Glasgow, would have been a company like New Stadia. And there's other models where they're municipally owned and operated directly by the municipality. So, Madam Mayor, I'm just going to go into some options and recommendations here from the review of the issues. So, presenting the future governance pathways, the option one is a modified society structure, and that's to retain the current society structure with bylaw amendments to address the governance concerns, with the option to amend the current operating agreement, or, if need be, develop a new one. The second option would be to have the Municipal Services Corporation transition, and that would require transitioning to a new Municipal Services Corporation, which provides a formal governance model under the Municipal Governance Act. So this is something we would have to go to the province with in order to establish. So there is a proposed motion, Madam Mayor, that I'll get into. One of the things that, again, I'll just speak to is the fact that From our perspective, although I think there's a lot of speculation that that's the intent, the society model itself and the society is still plays a role and is an important part of the operation of the rec, and therefore, we feel that there should be that should continue and would not be wound up. And again, I'll get into the request for decision, if with your permission, Madam Mayor, or with council's, or I guess first I'll entertain any questions from council on what has been presented.
Okay, council, I see Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton, through you to Mr. Dalter. I have so much to say. To be honest with you, I don't know where to begin. But I'll do my best. All right, where will I start? The chronological overview, Mr. Dalter, was this authored by you, or was this something, who authored it?
The chronological order was put together from facts from the minutes and.
No,
from,
who authored it?
Oh, I'm about to get to that,
Okay,
Councillor. Just
thank
give me 1 second.
Sorry.
And so that was put together by the County of Colchester's solicitor. It was reviewed by myself and our solicitor, Mr. Thompson. And again, I went through it to ensure that from all my records and everything going on, that it was accurate and a true reflection. And it does follow the chronology of events that has been presented to council during previous meetings.
Thank you. So for clarity, no one in the town wrote that.
There are some additions to what I just presented that did come
Okay,
from
but
me.
but it was submitted to us and we reviewed it.
Yeah, and then
We didn't review it, you reviewed it,
yeah,
and then you present your.
yes, correct.
And what about the future governance model?
The future governance model was discussed during a session this week between the CAOs and our solicitors. And again, it's done based on a jurisdictional scan of similar models out there, recognizing that I think a lot of people in the community would agree is the rec is not the same as, for example, the Picton Wellness Center. Right? It is a different model.
Thank you. I'm not finished. I'm just going to review my notes here. Thank you. I have a question. I'm not sure if you're the proper one to ask, but as we all know, these unauthorized contracts apparently signed. It's been 2 years since they've come into effect. We've had 2 rodeos. They've been the Rexton has been in charge of the exhibition grounds for 2 whole years. Why is it such an important issue now that we have to pull the wool out from everybody and do what we're doing now?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to apply.
I think to be clear and so the public is aware, and we've had these discussions with council. The end of the day, the intent is not to stop the rodeo or the stampede, and it's not to stop events from occurring at the NSP grounds. I think there's a full recognition that that there's value in both in those activities. There is certainly a lot of economic benefit that goes with that. The crux of the matter with this is under the current, particularly with the lease agreement right now, the terms that are in there, the risk comes back to the rec, and if it comes back to the rec, it comes back to us, because any loss the rec occurs is our loss. It's on our financial statements. So that risk exists.
Okay.
The contract also indemnifies the province, which owns the facility, from anything that occurs, any risk on the site, and places on the rec. And because the rec has no resources, it places it on the municipalities.
Okay.
So So again, the issue is not that the events are occurring on the NHP grounds. It is in the structure of the agreements that are in place and the fact that none, to the best of my knowledge, prior to signing of them, none of the agreements were reviewed by legal counsel. No risk assessment was done, nor was any business plan presented to the board or the board or the councils on the risks or what was being done to mitigate them. So again, so to answer your question, why is it an issue now? It's been an issue since the beginning, and although certainly we understood the events were being run, but the operation of the grounds itself were not clearly being demonstrated to us by what was going on. And case in point, I think even the board was unaware until the question was asked during a meeting that the rustic table was actually being operated by the rec. So again, those issues need to be addressed. And from the very beginning, the intent has been to look at the agreements and bring them in line with the operating agreement to continue on, if we could, with the operation on the NSP grounds.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, during this whole time, Mr. Dalter, were yourself ex officio member of the board during this whole period, along with the mayors and 2 representatives from council. So why didn't you address these things when they?
Because to be honest, we weren't aware that contracts had been signed. Again, the way.
You didn't know the rustic table was operating?
No, did not. I wondered why
For 2 years you didn't know?
I knew the rustic table was operating because I, like many people, saw the ads and saw the placards.
You didn't choose to ask?
I had no reason to think that the rec itself was operating the rustic table.
Yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there,
Yep.
I guess. That's not mine.
And Councillor, at the end of the day, it's not as with council or anything else. I mean, it's not up to the board to glean out information when specifically in a black and white contract it says the agreements have to be brought to the board.
Okay.
And and that's just a stipulation, and that's the crux of this matter,
Okay.
is that did not happen.
Yep, and I'm not going to dispute that.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, the biggest issue is, like I said, number one, why are we having a special meeting today when we can certainly deal with this at our January 5th council meeting? And then I was just presented today with all this information, and then with this, and earlier today, I was presented with a request for a decision that was written by the county by the CAO for the county and Dennis James. And then I arrive at this meeting tonight and find we're asked to make a decision on this. Like, how can I make a decision on this tonight? I mean, it's ridiculous. It just doesn't even make sense.
Well, I guess the reason for the sense of urgency is we're now in the middle of December. At the end of January, the operating agreement ceases. And for the employees at the rec, there needs to be some clarity on how we're going to move forward. And at this point, with when the operating agreement ceases, we have to have another solution.
Okay.
So again, the reason we're doing this here now is during the Christmas period, getting into January.
Couldn't wait till January 5th.
Well, January 12th is the meeting. And in order to have the structure in place before January 31st, it would be an extreme challenge. And at the end of the day, I will not try to justify that this has taken too long to get to this point, and we should have done this about a month ago. But here we are today.
Okay, I have one more question or comment. The complaint that was made, the HR complaint that was made during the rec with the withdrawal of both these boards, is that complaint still going to go ahead?
That's a matter for legal counsel.
Right.
And the rec does have that. I have no idea.
Enough.
And to be very clear, and that matter has nothing to do with anything we're discussing today.
Counselor? Counselor? Point of order, Counselor, that we're not having that language in the chamber, please.
And I'll remind you, Counselor, if you actually checked your chronology, we started raising issues in November. And when this came to light, the HR complaint wasn't even in place. The investigation had not even started. So all of this was initiated well before that was in place.
You didn't answer the question.
What's that? And the answer is, I can't tell you. It's not in my hands.
Ask our legal advisor.
It's not in his hands either. There is separate legal counsel that has been hired
Two of
by
them.
the rec board.
Two were.
What's that?
Two were hired by the society, and then all of a sudden, once you hire one, that board's gone. You hire another one, that board's gone.
And the issues have nothing, it has nothing to do.
Just a coincidence.
Absolutely.
Ah.
So I guess I'll put it this way, Counselor. If you have an issue with the way this has been conducted and a complaint against me, I am a CPA. You can put in a complaint to the CPA Nova Scotia if you think that I'm doing something wrong, and I am not acting. Yes, you are. Yes, you're implying that the actions that I'm putting in front, or the information I'm putting in front of council today, that's exactly what you're implying. There's nothing, I mean, a lot of this being initiated, I'm bringing this information forward, and it's not motivated by anything other than the concerns that have been listed today.
My question is, why is the county running this? Why are we taking everything from the county for us? The meeting, we have to have this meeting today, because they're going to vote on it tonight. Why am I getting the last minute, the last minute?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see this till I got here today.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone else see this?
Yeah. And
Why am I getting this?
And we were made aware.
Last minute.
We were made aware where the county was going with this last week. And the nature of the current operating agreement is that the decisions have to be made together. And as we know from the interim board situation, we don't always agree. So the town has, the town did not agree with the motion that was placed, or the action that was taken by the county. We chose to take a different route, but the operating agreement allows the county to do what it's doing. Now, as we said at the time, now we have to deal with the situation.
But why today, though? Come on.
Because at the end of January, the operating agreement no longer exists, and
But
therefore.
why today before their meeting tonight? Why not next week?
Well,
Is it another coincidence?
what's going to change next week?
Well, I don't know. But
Well-
why? But is it?
this is not
Does it seem suspect?
Madam Mayor, I don't want to sit here and argue with the
Yes,
council.
we're going to move forward. Counselor Fleming. Counselor Talbot, please.
Yeah, quite honestly, I don't find this useful. I came here so that the facts could get in the public, because everything that's out there now is not accurate. What we're looking for is a way to save this facility, to operate it the way it should be operated. Sitting here casting blame is not going to do anything, and all kinds of mistakes have made. I've sat on the board and probably made some of those mistakes myself. But I was hoping that collectively we could get the facts out, then have an intelligent discussion and find what's the best way forward. The only thing, Jim, that you said that I agree with, that I'm probably not prepared to vote on a model today. I'm not, so I'll state that up front. But a lot of stuff that the CAO has said is very accurate, and it had to be said, because we have people clapping for things that they don't even have all the facts. And we didn't vote with the county. We voted unanimously to maintain the board that was in place and to let them finish the work. So if this is the way this is going to be conducted, it's going to be useless as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Graham, you wanted to speak, so unmute yourself, please. Welcome today.
Hi, thank you for facilitating my participation. I have two questions for the CAO. The first is, could you clearly articulate to us what contracts currently exist, whether they're contracts or agreements, between within the society at this time? And I was wondering, what happens to those contracts if we change the structure or the governance model or what our society looks like?
Just to deal with the last question first, is that one of the reasons for maintaining the society is to maintain the contracts. Because the contracts themselves were signed by the CEO on behalf of the society. And if the society no longer exists, technically they would roll over to the municipalities, but that's going to cause issues. So to answer your question, if the society continues, the contract relationships still continue.
And which contracts or agreements are you referring to exactly?
Okay, just one sec now. I've got there's a number of sponsorship agreements that exist with Department of Agriculture, Department of Economic Development, and there is the agreement with the province on, this is commonly referred to as the CDIF funding. It's an economic development funding. That's a contract that council's aware of that allocated $2 million for the development of the NSP grounds over a 5-year period.
And what remains of that money?
The money is fully, at the end of this year, I believe it'll be fully expended.
So it was for $2 million for 5 years?
Yeah,
And is it almost completely depleted?
It's almost completely depleted. There was a allocation matrix at the back of the contract said it was supposed to last for 5 years, but I believe the REC has been allowed to draw down on that money, so it's fully drawn down on now at this point. The money has been used to subsidize costs of some of the development work that's been done on the site, and and as well as offset some of the costs for the Nova Scotia Stampede. And at the time that this was signed, it was described as a grant, as opposed to it is a longer term economic development fund, which went over the 5 years, went up to 5 years. The next one is the 10-year lease agreement with the Farm Loan Board. That agreement is the one that has been notice to terminate has been provided to the Farm Loan Board, and that is a 60-day notice. So that is in the process of being terminated, and that's quite frankly the one that is probably the biggest issue of all.
And that meeting is Monday? Is that what you said?
That's a meeting. That's our initial meeting.
Okay.
There's also an event management operations agreement with the Farm Loan Board as well that was signed on the same date. Yeah, and that may not be all of them, but I think that's the ones that I have a record of in front of me right now. One of the things that should be stated as well too, with the amendment to the operating agreement, it was clear that multi-year contracts could not be signed. And that's, again, that I hadn't raised that before, but those two agreements, particularly the 10-year operating lease or the operating agreement, that's one of the major issues. As far as the CDIF funding goes, it's not unusual that we would sign multi-year grant funding agreements. But the CDIF funding is a little bit different because there are deliverables that are also tied to that. But again, at the end of the day, had it been presented to the board, it's likely it probably would have been approved, and again, we wouldn't be having this discussion today. I can pretty well guarantee, though, that the operating agreement for the grounds, that agreement is almost exactly the same agreement that in 2022, through the risk assessment we did, said that it was too much risk carried with the agreement for us to sign to it. And again, at that time, the CEO did agree. So again, we ended up signing essentially the same agreement. So, Councillor, those are the agreements that are in place at this point. Was there any and yes, sorry, there is a third agreement that isn't listed here with the Stampede provider, and that is a 3-year agreement with Rawhide Entertainment.
Counselor, you're muted.
I can't see her.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'm going to just repeat them back to you to make sure that I've recorded them accurately. So it's one with the Department of Agriculture, one with the Department of Economic Development, one with CDIF, a 10-year lease from the Farm Loan Board, though we understand that that one is soon to expire.
No, it's not going to expire.
Oh.
Notice has been given to cancel the agreement.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. A second one, though, with the Farm Loan Board that has to do with event management, and the final one.
Well,
it's event
management, but it's an operating agreement as well too. So they're operating the site.
Okay, and the final one is with the Stampede provider.
Correct.
And just again, for clarity, that if the society is dissolved for some reason or changed, those contracts lay with the responsibility to the municipalities. Is that what you said?
Again, I believe, yeah, that is correct. Yeah. So essentially,
Okay.
the operating agreement allows for, when the wind up of the operating agreement, that all agreements that are signed by the society would then be vested with the municipalities.
And if the society continues to exist, those contracts would roll over to the new society in whatever format that takes?
Yes, unless
correct?
otherwise canceled.
Okay. Thank you very much for the clarity on that. I have one more question. One of your slides said that there were persistent issues with the board and the municipalities. I was wondering if you could outline what some of those issues might have been.
A lot of the discussion was around the actual risk that was being faced, and I guess a lack of agreement on the severity of the infractions and the risk that was being incurred by the municipalities. That was the crux of it, and for the most part. I'm going to just speak in generalities because the discussions at the board table are not public record. It's a closed society. So again, there's limited what I can say on that.
You're muted, Counselor.
Thank you very much. Those were the two questions that I have, and I appreciate your responses.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm in agreement with some of the comments made by other councillors that I don't think we're here to cast blame. I think we all recognize the importance of the rec for the community and for the region, and we want to see these events continue. We want to see the successes. The rec success is our success. The rec loss is our loss. So we want to make sure we move this forward in the best way possible. And under that spirit, when we are doing our jurisdictional scan regarding the models of other facilities around the province, you did say that the one in Pictou, probably not a comparative. Which one of the ones that we've looked at do you think is probably closest to the record?
Scotiabank
Center, or?
We're probably a hybrid. And when it comes to the fact that one of the critical pieces of the financial viability of the rec are events. And it is, unlike some of the smaller units, it is an entertainment venue. And that's a big part of the benefit it gives to the community. The same way that the Stampede has economic benefit, the concerts, the different events that are run there provide tremendous economic benefit. And even the municipality of the county of East Hants took over their facility, but for the most part, it's a community center, ice surface and that, which the rec is that, but it's a lot more. And so we kind of incorporate a lot. We're not obviously as big and as the Scotiabank Center in Halifax, but we are a smaller version of that. I mean, and that's quite obvious even when you look at, although it was canceled, was the hockey championships, the women's hockey championships that were going to be held jointly in Truro and Halifax. Again, we tend to punch above our weight, and again, that's, I mean, hats off to the staff at the rec. I mean, we've done a lot of great things here, and I don't want the public to think that this is an issue about how the rec has been run and the great things that it's done. This is a governance issue that needs to get addressed.
Right, and I do think that's very important to highlight, that it is just mostly around the governance and the way things have been handled, and contracts not being brought to the board and such. If we can talk about I think it was the C.diff grant, that was the one Mayor Hinton asked if the status of the money, because that was a 5-year grant and the money has been depleted in 2 years. But if I recall from the information that was provided, there were no yearly spending limits on that money. Is that correct?
That's an indication that was given verbally to us, but when you actually look through the agreement, there is a very specific drawdown schedule.
Okay.
Quite clearly, though, the province has been paying the claims that have been submitted, and to the point that the money in 2 years is almost gone. And again, obviously, they accepted the justifications that were submitted for that funding. But and we talk about risk today, that begs the question, okay, what happens now? Because even for the Stampede this year, there was, I believe, $280,000 or $290,000 was pulled into onto the Stampede books in order to offset. And as a result, the Stampede is, the last statement I saw shown a positive balance of $160,000. I won't say a profit because obviously grant money was offsetting a loss. The question is, going forward, is the province committed to continue to provide that type of money to offset the cost? There's indications that they are, but we don't have anything that formally that indicates that. There's also, the accepted fact that, as the CEO has indicated, that a lot of the expenses over the last 2 years will not recur. So we probably don't need the same amount of money going forward, but there's probably little doubt we need some money to offset operational costs that are going to be ongoing on the site. And some of that money as well went into infrastructure on the site as well too, which again, we shouldn't be responsible for. It's a provincial site.
Right, and I do think that that's also good to highlight that, there probably were no spending limits in place because of the recognition that investments up front that would then carry on for years to come. And when we talk about the financial viability, I mean, obviously as a municipality, we do lots of things that do not provide a profit. And I question you this, sir, on the December 1st council meeting, that we don't profit off a lot. We provide a lot of public services. I don't expect the rec or all of its events to operate at a full profit, but they do need to be somewhat financially viable. We can't just pour money down the hole, obviously. But going forward, I agree that we need to make sure we've got sufficient funding in there to cover that and that we're not operating at a sizable loss. I wanted to ask, when we're talking about the society, and I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit here toward the request for decision, because you had presented some options, and one of those options was creating, continuing the society, I don't see the pros and cons or the implications of the recommendation called out here. Does staff have a list of sort of the pros and cons with some of the options that have been provided to us today?
Yeah, there is within the briefing note that Mr. Thompson put together. There are a justification that goes through continuing the society. This option involves continuing the society to manage and operate the agreement pursuant to the site pursuant to the operating agreement, but to change the governance model. And the value of this is it continues the contracts are in place. It maintains the relationship with the employees, and it provides good continuity for the center. Any other model that we would have to start from scratch, and it would be very disruptive for the operation or potentially for the operation. There's, everything from contractors and everything else are dealing with the society itself. And that's why we recommend that continue. From our perspective, there's no real reason to change that. We just need to change the governance structure the society operates under to be more effective and avoid future problems.
Counselor, if you don't mind, if I could just interrupt for 1 second, I'll go right back to you.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Solicitor is going to say something.
Councillor McGrath, on the third page of the memorandum, just before the recommended motions, I've summarized the advantages, I guess, from my perspective, and I think the CAO's perspective, of continuing with the society model. That would definitely be the least disruptive, in that the employees of the REC would continue to be employees of the society. Contracts with suppliers and businesses that supply services could continue as they are. We would not have to negotiate and come up with a new intermunicipal services agreement. We could amend the bylaws of the society fairly quickly, and it would be fairly straightforward to change the governance structure in terms of directors and where those directors come from. That wouldn't be a terribly onerous task. So those are the main advantages and the reason for the recommendation that we stick with the society with some changes to the governance structure, and that might involve some changes to the operating agreement as well. But those could be done over time if the society continued to be the operator of the REC.
All right, so I don't want to sort of sound flippant here, but it does sort of sound like we're just saying because it would be the easiest path forward. And I'm not sure if easiest path is always the best path, but I do agree that with the timing that we have, because again, if we had done this at the January 12th meeting, we would have had exactly 14 days before the operating agreement was terminated. That would not have provided sufficient time, I don't think, for staff to act on council's decision and been successful. And
Yeah.
I don't want to set staff up for failure. For
Well,
sure.
and the other
But-
advantage too of keeping, if this is with the society in place too, I mean, initially, we could go with one model. If, as time went by and the situation changed, society still exists, we can still change the structure on who sits on the society.
Yep.
And again, it means we're not closing the door on alternatives moving forward, as opposed to adopting a model that clearly states either, we're operating it or someone else is operating it. We're keeping a model in place that allows us to be flexible and to do what's best for the community. And I think that's the overall intent.
Right, you definitely got ahead of me there, Mr. Dolter. I'm in agreement because we can take this path forward that gives staff the best chance for success and the REC the best chance for success. If we have determined at some point that the changes to the society are not working as we intend and the governance still needs change, we could decide to go back to a municipal services corporation, for example, or any of the other options that have been provided. Excellent. Based on all of that, and having read through the briefings, I did not see any new information that was provided necessarily. It was very useful to have it all captured in one place. Unlike the rest of my council compadres, I believe I am prepared to vote on a motion today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Our solicitor wanted to speak again. Just clarify something, I believe. Here we go. Oops.
Pardon me. No, I was going to make the same point as Mr. Dolter, that if we continue on with the society in the short term, and it turns out that that model continues to have problems, then we could look at an intermunicipal services agreement and make the change. It would be much harder to go the other way and go back. So I think this is the most sort of prudent course in the short term.
Thank you, Solicitor Thompson. Councillor Pryor.
Mr. Dolter, I may be going backwards here, but do I understand that the CEO is permitted to do events at the NSPE, but was not authorized to sign operating contracts? Is that the issue?
Correct. And one of the stipulations because obviously there was some concerns as a result of the original agreement signed in 2022, that there was a willingness to make the amendments in order to allow events to occur, but there still was a desire to review and have all the contracts that did get signed reviewed. Now, that's different from the rec itself, because the operating agreement does state that the CEO has authority for events contracts to sign those at the for the rec directly, without having to come back to the board, because that's part of his mandate. It's within the operating agreement that gives him that authority. And again, although he did inform the board, for example, when different sporting events or that would come in, that contracts had been signed, there wasn't a requirement for him to come back to the board to have those approved. However, when we had the amendment to the amended operating agreement in 2023, that it was stipulated that for the NSP's site, any contracts did have to come back to the board for approval.
Because there's a lot of rumors out there that are confusing.
Yeah. But the two sites were treated differently because of the nature of them and the fact that there was an amendment because when the rec was originally built, and the original intent of the rec was that it created economic development, but the activity was at the rec, and that was the reason why the amendments had to be made, because the original agreement that was in place, the operating agreement with Perennia, that wasn't possible because they couldn't sign third-party contracts that took activity off-site.
So some of the things that I have been reading online, the CEO believed he had authority to sign them. Is that correct? Did he or did he not?
I can say that he stated that. I have documentation that indicates that he was aware that the issues had to be brought back to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I just want to make a few comments. I mean, obviously, this is a hot ticket item in the community. Just witness the number of citizens we have here. This issue is important to them, as it is to us. And like, I don't know how this process played out, but what I was hoping is that the facts would be all put on the table. You can take that, you can mishmash it with what's already out there, and people can come to their own conclusions. And I was kind of hoping there might be some type of process where citizens could feed in, because this is an important building. It's I've been on council for 9 years, and I sat on the rec board for 4, and I always put the rec in the investment basket. I never put it in the expenditure basket, because it did social good. It allowed us to bring attractions to town we otherwise could never have hoped to do. There's certainly significant economic spin-offs. So as an elected official, my job is to try to get this right. And I mean, the first way you get it right is we have to agree on the statement of facts, and we have to eliminate what people might have thought was the facts, but might have been a little bit twisted or, half-truth that was stretched. So I don't know if there's going to be that process. And like I say, I'm really torn around voting on a model without giving the public a chance for some input. I guess that's just where I sit on it.
I mean, I honestly don't disagree. The problem is, from a legal standpoint, the operating agreement has been terminated by the County of Colchester, and that's a fact that we can't avoid at this point. So we do have to have something in place to continue past January 31st. So again, that's a decision and direction I would require from council on, what do we do post January 31st? But we do have to have something in place, and if council, if they're not prepared to vote on it today, then we do have a short time frame where we have to have something in place. And unfortunately, again, this discussion should have been a month ago, but it wasn't. Again, there is a certain sense of urgency because the operating agreement expires on January 31st. The county was able to do that within the terms of the operating agreement unilaterally, and we all know where we were, but now we have to deal with the situation. So again, I'll just ask council to consider. I can go through the request for decision. And Madam Mayor, if there may be further questions, I don't know, but I think we do have to come to a decision for the continued operation of the rec, and for the good, for the employees themselves too. Myself and the CEO for the County of Colchester met with senior management, and we understand where they're coming from, and they need some answers. And with the previous board structure, we had a limited ability to even answer some of their questions, which was problematic. So again, we need to, at the end of the day, we are looking for what's best for the rec and the public, and ensures that the municipalities are not exposed to undue risk in what we put in place.
Thank you for that. Oh,
I know that facility still has to operate. It's very important. And it's Christmas, it's busy, but I think with the amount of concern that was out there, we could probably fast track something. That'd be my view.
thank you, Counselor. I want to say that I know the value the rec brings to the community, and I've said this many times, we want the rec to be the absolutely best it can be. We also appreciate what the Stampede brings to the community, and we want that to succeed. It's a great event that brings people together and highlights our community in the most positive way. So that is very important as well. So, and this has been a heavy on our heart with all of us because we want the rec to succeed. It's a draw to our community. We're so lucky to have it. So we want it to be the best it can be. Councillor Fleming, I see your light on, if you'd like to comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree totally with your comments. The rec is a great facility, and it does bring up a lot to our community, obviously. And it's important, that's why everybody's here. And I'm glad we're going to stay with the society model if we do vote on this tonight. Obviously, I'm not prepared to vote on it, but if we do, we will. The society model, I agree with our solicitor. That's the way to go. With public input, of course, is important. But my question to our solicitor is, if we stay with this society model, you'd mentioned that we could tweak it a bit or whatever. So what would entail the tweaking if we wanted to do that, if we chose to?
I'm going to light you up. There you go.
Yes, that's kind of getting into the RFD, which I think is where the CAO is headed, because it addresses the tweaking that we're recommending.
I'll make it a little easier for you, because that's where I was going with it. If we wanted to make tweaks to what this would be, how we would do the tweaking? with a request for decision from both councils? Is that what how we would have to do it?
What the RFD is looking for is direction from council for staff to meet with the county and come up with very specific recommended amendments to the bylaws for the society. Those recommendments would be to have the directors of the society consist entirely of councillors, probably 3 councillors from the town, 3 from the county, and along with that, look at having a citizens advisory committee that would be made up of members of the public that would meet and with the board of directors, provide advice to the board of directors, make recommendations, but they would not have any decision-making authority. That would entirely rest with the board. The other changes that we would like to explore and again, come back with some specific recommendations. Some changes to the management structure to call for more regular board meetings, to set up perhaps a management committee consisting of the CEO of the rec, along with the CAOs of both municipalities to meet on a regular basis, to try to make sure that some of the problems that have occurred in the last 18 months, give or take, don't repeat themselves through better communication, making sure that you know, the municipalities are more aware of what's going on at the rec, and the rec is more aware of what the municipalities are thinking and what their expectations are. So again, that's kind of what the RFD is looking for. And again, any specific changes, those would all have to be amendments to the bylaws. And before those were made, they would come back to council for council's review and approval. And then the amendments to the bylaws would have to be made by the board of directors of the rec itself.
Councillors. Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you. Yep, that's great. But again, I will say, I haven't even read the request for decision yet, so, because I just got here. So I'm not prepared to vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Solicitor Thompson. Councillor Graham, you have a question?
Hi, and thank you. I guess there's no motion on the floor. However, it does seem that we are discussing the request for decision without a motion. I guess that's okay. But I, too, along with some of my fellow councillor members, do not feel prepared enough to make a decision this afternoon, mostly because I feel that there needs to be further consultation with any of the stakeholders who would be affected by a change in the structure of the society. And without consulting with those stakeholders, I don't think it would be prudent to move forward. As the old saying goes, nothing about us without us. And there are many people and stakeholders who would be affected greatly by a change. And without consultation, I don't think we should move forward.
Thank you, Councillor.
Madam Mayor, I'm just curious, which stakeholders are you referring to? I just need for clarity.
Well, when I think about stakeholders, I think about senior staff and management at the rec. I also feel it would be prudent to consult or consider in more depth the contracts that are existing at this time and how a change in the structure of the society may or may not affect the relationship with those contracts, or the people who hold the contracts, or who the society holds the contracts with.
So just to be clear, what we're suggesting for the changes to the society are more to do with governance. The operations, as far as the society, the staff, senior staff, we're not suggesting anything will change in that relationship. There still will be, the general manager will still be in place. that, there's no suggestion that there's going to be any change to how the rec operates itself, other than just the governance and the structure of the society board and how that's done in that structure.
I guess the relationship, it would be different between the CA or what do we call him, CEO at the rec and his or her relationship with a governing society if it's made up solely of elected people without community people. So I do feel that relationship would change there, which could potentially have a trickle-down effect on other staff. I don't know. Without consulting, I don't know the answer. And as I previously stated, I wonder about a change in the society and how that would be viewed by those we hold contracts with at this time. I don't know. Maybe there wouldn't be an effect, but without consulting, I don't know that.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Talbot?
Yeah, I'm changing my position a little bit because like Councillor Graham said, the motion's not out there, but listening to the solicitor, and if the direction is to have staff do some work and come back with some recommendations, I'm okay with that, but I would like to see a process built into that where public could put some input. And I don't think that would slow it down. We could put a time frame on that. And consultations is consultation. You don't necessarily accept everything that's given, but sometimes, they say 2 heads better than 1. Probably 100 are better than 20. So I don't know. I can't amend the motion because it's not on the floor, but that's
yet.
what I'm thinking.
But my thoughts are with staff as well. My thoughts are with the staff there as well.
Again, I'll state the obvious. The problem we have, unless the County of Colchester agrees with what we're doing, it probably doesn't happen. And shouldn't say this, but I shouldn't say this in a public meeting. One of the difficulties with the operating agreement is that the councils are able to operate independently, and that creates part of the issue that we have. Again, and for full transparency, I was responsible for drafting the operating agreement, and I hope that I didn't write the paragraph that's in there that said it could be unilateral decisions made, because again, we're running one facility, and when we don't get the two owners agreeing, it creates issues. Sometimes they're minor when it involves a sauna. If anybody can remember that. And sometimes, as we're sitting here today, it's major. So certainly we'll carry out council's direction, but we do have to recognize that if the county doesn't agree, I don't know what the next steps would be. So again, I need to state that just in case by making a decision today, council thinks it's going to necessarily result in a full consultation, because again, we've got two owners involved here.
I wish it was as easy as a sauna, so, yeah.
To the table, probably have to go to Europe.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I request that we get the request for decision motion on the table so that we can follow proper process and have our discussion on the motion, because it feels like we're already moved in that direction.
Correct. Mr. Dolter, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, looking at the rec governance structure. So a set of the memorandum attached, which council is attached for council's review to this RFD. The rec has been operated by the Central Nova Scotia Civic Centre Society under the terms of an operating agreement among the municipalities of the County of Colchester, the town of Truro, and the society. Given the notice from the municipality to terminate the operating agreement, the current issues with governance of the society, the town and the municipality need to decide how to operate and govern the rec going forward. The town and the municipality could enter into a new municipal services agreement to operate and manage the rec, but in staff's opinion, the better option in the short and medium term is to continue to have the society do so, but with changes to the governance structure of the society such that all directors are members of town council or municipalities council. The changes would require amendment to the society's bylaws, and these changes would include setting the number of directors at 6, with 3 from the town and 3 from the municipalities council. Establish a citizens advisory committee to make recommendations to the board, and amending the management structure to require regular board meetings and reporting, as well as management team consisting of the 2 CAOs, the general manager, and the general manager of the rec. So the proposed motion, Madam Mayor, is be resolved the council directs staff to enter into discussions with the municipality on continuing to have the society manage and operate the rec, and make amendments to the society's bylaws as described in the memorandum provided with the RFD, and report back to council with a recommendation, with recommended bylaw amendments for council approval.
I want you to read that again, Mr. Dalton, so it's very clear, please.
Okay. So be it resolved, the council directs staff to enter into discussions with the municipality on continuing to have the society manage and operate the rec, and make amendments to the society's bylaws as described in the memorandum provided with the RFD, and report back to council with the recommended bylaw amendments for council approval.
I'm looking for a mover, Councillor McGrath, seconder, Councillor Pryor. Discussion on the motion. Councillor McGrath, you're up first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Some simple questions. So when we talk about the potential bylaw updates and making it that 3 councillors from the town, 3 councillors from the municipality of County of Colchester, is that excluding the mayors from being able to serve on that? What is our wording going to look like there?
I have to say that's yet to be determined.
Okay.
Right.
Because
I mean-
I would hate to deprive the mayors of continuing to
Yeah.
serve on the board,
Please.
as much as Mayor Hinton may wish to be excused, I would love to see her continue to serve. But just and regarding the governance structure, I mean, I recognize many faces in the gallery today, and it is wonderful to see so many of you here today. Anyone who's talked to me knows that I am very keen on openness, on hearing from the community, and I've heard a lot of concerns from the community on this, on other topics. I have not heard anything from anybody in this gallery or not about the governance of the rec. I've heard a lot of operational issues. I'm all for public engagement, but I don't imagine that many of the public have a whole lot of insight or, strong opinions on the governance of this board. I think they are more concerned with making sure that the showers work, the gym equipment works, that the pool temperature is sufficient, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think that we need to delay significantly. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that we can probably move forward with these amendments, and hopefully then, to answer Councillor Fleming's question from earlier, we're having this meeting today to give staff the time to come back so that we have the January 12th meeting. We have these recommendations that have been put in. I would just request that the emails continue and that we are not waiting until the 12th, that councillors are advised and kept apprised as time goes on here so that we're not caught by surprise in January. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, just want to make sure I'm voting on the right thing. So we're not voting on a model, we're voting on a model to be, number of models to be researched and then brought back to council for a vote?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so we will sit down with the county and go through that. The proposed structure obviously would be the first points of discussion with the county. But again, something different could come back once we have those discussions.
Okay. My second point is that we'd have to take a much deeper look at governance, because that's not something, a skill that people just have in their back pocket, whether I'm talking about the elected officials or the public. That most boards that I've ever served on provided training in governance, because it is a bit of an art. And thirdly, I would like to make that friendly amendment that the public be consulted. If the county says no, they say no, but I'd still like to make that friendly amendment.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, I didn't read the request for decision before I said a few things that I said, and I'm not going to apologize, but I will say that sorry? Okay. I thought you said you should. Okay. But I thought we were voting on the proposal as was, and with this, you know, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I am. Thank you. It's, I do not, but I'm not going to withdraw my comments in regards to receiving it when I sit here at my desk. I mean, we're asked to make decisions on these things, and I shouldn't have to read it when I get here at the chambers. So, and I understand all the reasons for it, and I know things are tight, but I don't think I should have to come here and read all this stuff amongst everything else that's going on and expect to. But I didn't read it all properly, and you know what? I'm going to support this motion for that reason, because yeah, and you come back to us, and hopefully there'll be public input on this, and then we'll go forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. You wanted to say something, Mr.
Yeah, I do, yeah, and I recognize the need for public engagement. I'm just trying to envision on how that would work, to be honest, and that's something I'll have to discuss with staff. I'll have to discuss with the county to see, one, if they're prepared to do it, and two, if they are, what would it look like and how that would be.
We will investigate.
Yeah, and the public consultation would be, just to get clarity from, I guess, from Councillor Talbot, would be around the governance structure? Because really, that's what we're addressing at this point. Yeah.
So it has to be addressed in that manner. I see that completely separate from the governance piece.
Yeah.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay, and does anybody have any comments? No further comments? Okay. Oh, Allison, Counselor Graham.
Hi, I'm a long way away, but thank you. In addition to consulting with the public, has the motion been formally amended to reflect that change?
Not yet.
I would like to make that change in the motion, and if this is the proper time to do so, I'd like to do it now. But in addition to the public, I would like to include major stakeholders, which would include senior management at the rec.
Comments?
It's based on the governance model. I don't know. Again, it would be like a CAO saying how they would like council to be elected and who could be on council. It's difficult because again, there's a different role. There's operations. The senior staff report to the CEO. Certainly, we could have a conversation with the CEO, and he obviously, and Councillor Graham, rightly, you pointed out the CEO is probably the one staff member that will be directly affected. Senior management may have an opinion, but I think they need to have that opinion through the CEO, as opposed to coming individually back to comment on governance overall, because again, the one that is affected by the governance structure is the CEO himself or herself.
You're muted, Counselor.
Thank you. I would accept that as well, that it be done. I would amend it to say the CAO.
CEO,
rather
yeah.
than senior staff.
Okay, so again, I'm sorry, who made the motion?
The motion was made by you read the request for decision. The motion was moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Pryor.
Okay, so as the
mover.
As the
Councillor
mover,
McGrath.
do you accept those friendly amendments?
Councillor McGrath, do you accept those amendments? I'm waiting for my light here. I'm having
There we go.
technical difficulties.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what we need to do, I don't think I accept the amendments because as Mr. Dolter said, it's sort of like being able to choose your boss. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Dolter, anywhere, the board employs the CEO or the general manager. The general manager, in turn, employs all of the the employees at the rec. It would be similar to council employs you, the CAO, you oversee the staff at town hall, all of the municipal
Yeah,
employees.
You're correct, the same
If
relationship.
we are saying that the CEO or general manager should have input into the governance, is basically choosing the terms of his employment.
I guess I would accept, I mean, I think it makes sense for the amendment on the basis that I think I should let you speak to it, Councillor Graham, not to put words in your mouth, but I think what you're saying is that not necessarily he has direct input, but the CEO should be consulted. And that discussion can be had with him.
Exactly what I'm saying,
Okay.
that he is consulted with.
I'm happy to accept the friendly amendment then that the CEO be consulted with, but that not necessarily, some of those comments and any of that feedback may or may not come to fruition. But I do believe he can be consulted. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, and the other amendment would be is that we conduct public consultation on the proposed model. Yeah.
Councillor McGrath, do you accept the second amendment that I'm going to get the request decision to include both of them for one vote? Do you accept the second amendment of the governance training? And the first amendment would be for the CEO.
No, it's not, sorry, just correct,
Wait.
Madam Mayor, it was not governance training, it's for public consultation.
Public
on the-
consultation,
yes.
sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay. Are you good with that, Councillor McGrath? Oh, wait, I've got it, so I'm going to take everybody out of sequence here. Hold on, there we go.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Much easier to respond when the microphone is on. Thank you. With regards to the public consultation, I mentioned earlier, I've never heard anybody once mention any issues with the governance. I don't even imagine that many of the folks understand how the governance is working there, because I think even on council, some of us aren't even familiar with the governance that's in place and how it's currently working, only that we really need it to be updated for better performance. Mr. Dolter, you were even considering whether or not, how that would look. If we accept this amendment to do public consultation on the governance, is that going to hamper us in moving forward? Is that something that we are going to be able to pull together before the January council meeting?
It definitely will be a challenge, given that we're going into the Christmas period. And the fact is that I'm not sure how many people will be motivated to sit down for that discussion at this time of year. But we can make the attempt to do it as soon as we come up with, if we can come up with an effective way to do that again. And that's something we've done surveying, a lot of public consultation through staff before, and I'll talk to the staff members that are best at that, because I'm not. So I will,
Okay.
And we'll come back to council with a recommendation on how we would consult. Obviously, I'm not waiting till January 12th to do that.
No.
So we have some work to do before the Christmas break.
Okay, I wonder if I could amend Councillor Graham's amendment that we look into public engagement and carry it out if feasible, because at this point, if we are trying to pull together in such a short period, I mean, today is the 11th, the next council meeting is on the 12th, that is 1 month with a lot of holidays in between. I don't want us to be hamstrung by trying to ensure that we are carrying out public engagement if it is not going to be feasible to do so. So, Madam Mayor, I wonder if that would be amenable to Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham?
Or was it Councillor Talbot?
It was the original amendment.
So the CEO inclusion was Councillor Graham. The amendment.
Apologies, Councillor Talbot.
Yes, Councillor Talbot.
Councillor Talbot is amenable to the agreement.
Councillor Talbot?
Amendment.
Because this many people have showed up, they have a real concern They're not allowed to speak because of the way the
bylaws.
meeting is structured.
Yeah.
So if we don't have an amendment, we're basically saying we're not going to give you a voice. That's my view.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, based on that, Madam Mayor, I would accept the friendly amendments from both Councillor Talbot and Councillor Graham, and I wish staff the best of luck in being able to carry out the wishes of council here.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. Just a quick comment in regards to the public. Why can't we just put something online and people can make their comments?
And that might be the option.
That'd probably be the best.
That might
This
be
time
the
of
option,
year, everyone
right?
can do it at home. They can put their comments in, and I think that's
We-
the best. And that
yeah.
shouldn't be too
Yeah, we like what we
onerous
do.
on anybody, I wouldn't think.
And that's the format that I'm thinking, but I didn't want to commit to that until I have a chance to talk to staff. But I notice Ms. Grant's nodding her head, so that's probably the best option.
So to make this as clear as mud, I'm going
Could
to.
I?
Yes,
Oh.
Councillor? Yes.
Sorry, in your opinion, Mr. Dalter, do you expect that any change in the society's structure or in the way that they govern would affect our relationship with any of the current contracts that are in place?
I don't believe so, because at the end of the day, the contracts that are in place are there because of the work that the rec staff have done. They may or may not even know about the existence of the board. So I think as long as the relationship is maintained through the staff, which have set these up, I don't see it impacting the operation or the relationship with anybody that we have currently contracted with. Again, it may affect future contracts, but I'm not aware of where that situation would, as long as, at the end of the day, as long as we do this right and it makes sense.
So in your professional opinion, you do not feel that consultation is important with those contract people?
I don't see, in my opinion, I don't see how it would affect the contracts, that relationship. Now, at the end of the day, if we do a survey or something online where people can submit, anybody that has a contract with the rec and wants to make any comments on that, they certainly can do that.
Thank you for the advice.
Thank you. Mr. Dalter, can you reread the request for decision with the amendments, please? Slowly, clearly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Slow is my thing. Be it resolved that council directs staff to enter into discussions with the municipality on continuing to have the society manage and operate the rec and making amendments to the society's bylaws as described in the memorandum provided with this RFD, and then report back to council with the recommended bylaw amendments for council. In making those recommendations to council, staff will conduct public input or public engagement, and will include the CEO of the Rathleen Eastlink Center as part of that engagement process.
Thank you. I rarely do this, but I'm going to pull my counsel. Councillor Talbot, are you in favor of the amended request for decision? Councillor Talbot votes yes. Councillor Graham, are you in favor of the amended decision? Councillor Graham votes yes. Councillor Jim Fleming, are you in favor of the amended decision? Councillor Fleming votes yes. Councillor Ian McGrath, are you in favor of the amended decision? Councillor McGrath votes yes. Councillor Pryor, are you in favor of the amended decision? Councillor Pryor votes yes. Mayor Hinton votes yes. Amended decision is approved. Pardon me?
Did you get Councilor Grant?
Councillor Graham voted yes.
sorry.
Okay? Okay. So this now is going to bring us to the end of our special meeting. I want to thank everyone, and I sincerely mean that, for showing up today. This has not been an easy thing to deal with, but I can speak here that we care about the Rath Eastlink Center. Please know that. I'll ask each of you to be kind to each other and continue to be kind to our town. And this special meeting of Truro Town Council is adjourned at 5:04. Be safe, everyone. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.